When the word fraternity is mentioned, people often jump to the old Hollywood cliche of wild parties, womanizing, and failure to accomplish college goals. In this short documentary, I will look to dispel some of these old stereotypes and show the truth of what a fraternity is. The first stereotype that I chose to look into was that being in a fraternity will crush your GPA. People assume that because fraternities are so time consuming, they will cause a negative correlation with the member's GPA. This statement, however, proved untrue by the Journal of College Student Development. Based on their research, freshmen who went Greek were still on par with their counterparts with such things as critical thinking, moral reasoning, need for cognition, positive attitude towards literacy, awareness and appreciation of differences, openness to diversity challenge, and overall psychological well-being. This study, which was conducted during a member's busiest semester, their pledge semester, speaks volumes. When I looked at the average GPA from fraternities and non-Greek males at UNC Charlotte, I found that over the past 5 years there has been little to no difference in average GPA, proving that being in a fraternity will not ruin your GPA. When I chose to rush fraternity, I had some people tell me I shouldn't do it. They said all Greek life would do is change you for the worse and turn you into a drunken zombie. In order to get the real scoop on fraternities, I decided to interview a member of the Zeta Tau Alpha chapter here at Charlotte. I hoped she could give me a more in-depth insight into what fraternities really are, since she interacts with them nearly daily. Fraternity, what are some initial thoughts that come to mind?
Fraternity guys are guys that usually party a lot, but they also do a lot of community service and work really hard to create a good name for their organization.
Would you say fraternities play a role in shaping people for the better or for the worse?
They definitely shape young men for the better. It it makes them become more mature a lot faster than they would if they didn't have so much responsibility that the fraternity gives them. It allows them to network, and so that will help them in the future when trying to find a job. And it also gives them a really strong sense of brotherhood and a lot of people that they know they can always depend on.
There has been a lot of talk recently about how fraternities can be bad for colleges with hazing, partying, and assaults. If a higher entity were to come along and abolish Greek life, do you feel as though colleges would be better or worse off?
I think they would definitely be worse off because although those bad things do happen, they're actually really rare, and the media only focuses on the bad things that happen rather than the good things that happen every single day in Greek life. Um, Being Greek trains you to become really great with people. It trains you to become a leader. It just shows you how you need to act in the real world before you even get there. So you kind of have a step ahead of everyone else.
When interviewing Rachel, I found something she said very interesting. She said that Greek life trains you to be a leader. When I heard that quote, I jumped into investigation mode to see if there were any studies conducted on the topic. Almost immediately, I found a study published by the Journal of Student Affairs, Research, and Practice, which took fraternity and non-fraternity members from across 24 different schools and compared their leadership abilities with a quantitative test known as the Socially Responsible Leadership Scale. They gave them the test initially when they came to college, and at the end of the year had them retake it. What the test showed is that in 2 of the 8 leadership categories, fraternity members scored vastly higher than their non-Greek peers. In the other 6 categories, they were right on par with their peers. What the study suggests is that, and I quote, a fraternity has a significant impact on a student's development of social leadership throughout the first year of college. Now that we have proven it true that fraternities will help your leadership abilities, let's move on to an interview with one of my brothers, Dalton. He came through Lambda Chi Alpha with me this past semester and has quickly become one of my best friends here. When you think about the average fraternity man, a couple words always seem to come up, and they are as follows: douchebag, short shorts, Sperry's, preppy, alcohol poisoning, and two-faced cheaters. Now, while Dalton does have some of the typical fraternity artifacts such as polos, short shorts, Ray-Bans, and Sperry's, he definitely doesn't have the quote-unquote typical fraternity attitude. When I say Lambda Chi Alpha, what does that mean to you?
Lambda kind of means having like the brothers that I never had when I was growing up. I always had sister, like I had a sister, and I mean like I just always wanted to have like an older brother aspect, and I never got that until I joined Lambda Chi.
Why did you personally join Lambda Chi? Working or like?
I did Lambda Chi mainly just for the social aspect of it. Like I was kind of like an introverted kid when I was growing up, and then like when I got to college, I just really wanted to like get out there, and I figured that a fraternity was the best way to do so, and so I chose Lambda Chi because they were the biggest one and the best one on campus.
Having the knowledge you have now, what would be your reasons for rushing Lambda Chi today?
The same ones that they were whenever I rushed. I mean, nothing's changed about my opinion on them. We're still number one. So
Have you ever had a day where you regretted joining Lambda Chi Alpha?
there's been a few days where it's been kind of stressful. I mean, like coordinating some events, like over time you will get, like it is draining, like mentally and physically, but whenever you see that event become successful, then I mean, like it all pays off for that. So
Okay. Would you say that Lambda Chi Alpha has made you a better man?
I'd say Lambda Chi has made me a better man, like exponentially. Like honestly, like the traits that I've picked up being in this fraternity have made me, like they've molded me into like the person I am today, and I would not trade that experience for anything else.
Thank you so much, Dalton.
I love you, bro.
The final aspect I would like to address about fraternity life is the fact that we aren't self-centered human beings. It is almost shocking how many times people say we are just a bunch of rich kids who joined a club that spends a majority of its time trying to get with every girl under the sun. Each year, fraternities devote countless hours out of their life to volunteer for their school and communities. Just this year alone, I have personally volunteered my time towards a needing school, 3 different blood drives, Relay for Life, Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Walk, organize a date auction with 100% of the proceeds benefiting Susan G. Komen, and help raise money for the victims of the Boston bomber. I also only participated in about half of the volunteer opportunities that I knew about. Nationally, Greek Life makes up the largest network of volunteers, so to say that we are selfish is just downright ignorant. Then to say that fraternity guys are too selfish to get tied down to a girl is also extremely appalling. Personally, I've been dating Rachel since I've been at college. I also have multiple brothers that have been dating girls for years. In conclusion, I would just like to say fraternities don't deserve half the criticism they receive. When you flip on the news, you will never see how a fraternity is helping the community, but rather you will hear of a chapter that just got in trouble for hazing, or maybe that just got an assault charge. If you were to step back and look at fraternities as a whole, rather than label them based off of what a few bad apples do, you would see they aren't so bad and should be considered by every college student. Fraternities can take you at your rawest form and mold you into a great young man. Some of the teachings my fraternity has taught me really transform my thinking for the better. One of my favorite mottos is our motto of Palika Takala, which means not without labor. I also hold our 7 core values true to my heart. They are leadership, duty, respect, service and stewardship, honor, integrity, and personal courage. If people were to ignore the stereotypes, they would really see how great fraternities are and how much they do.